Today, we turn our attention to the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, Ghana's lead agency in the fight against drug trafficking. In this episode, we look at how the drug trade has evolved, how traffickers are trying to use Guyana as a transshipment route, and what's being done to stop them through air, sea, land, and international partnerships. Our guest is James Singh, Director of CANU. Mr. Singh has worked in national security for over 25 years, including as head of CANU, where he has led joint operations, forged strong ties with allies, and chaired CARICOM heads of national drug councils. He represents Guyana at the International Drug Enforcement Conference and serves on the National Security Committee, chaired by the President. He plays a key role in advancing Guyana's national security architecture. We're here at CANU's new headquarters, still under construction, but already a strong symbol of what lies ahead. We'll show viewers now a sneak peek of what it will look like when it's completed. Welcome, sir. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me and giving me an opportunity to speak about CANU.
All right, let's get down to business. What is CANU and why is its role so important to Guyana?
The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit was created to fight drug trafficking. Its mandate is to disrupt, detect, and dismantle drug trafficking organizations within the country and also those who may be intent on setting up a foothold here. We work very closely with the Guyana Defense Force, the Guyana Police Force, and other members of the Joint Services. In addition, drug trafficking threatens national security, and our mandate is to ensure that public security, investor security, as well as national security is maintained. Most importantly, international confidence. CANU is not only about seizing drugs, but it's about ensuring, as I mentioned, national security is maintained, public confidence, public safety, as well as our international reputation.
How has the drug trafficking threat evolved in recent years, and how is CANU responding?
Marcy, that's a very important question. First of all, let me state that Guyana is not a producer of cocaine. Guyana, because of its geographic location, is caught between the suppliers in the Andean region and consumers on other continents. In the past, we've seen drugs enter Guyana and then transship through Guyana, through the Caribbean basin towards North America. Recently, there's been a shift. Now drugs are still coming into Guyana and then transship towards West Africa and Europe. The reason for that is what one can say the balloon effect. As a result of law enforcement presence and patrolling within the Caribbean basin, that has somewhat deterred traffickers and posed more of a risk to them. So what traffickers do is look for the path of least resistance. Coupled with the fact that there's a greater demand in Europe, there's better prices in Europe and less risk. It's just across the Atlantic. We've seen traffickers now take advantage of that. How are they doing it? We're seeing low-flying aircraft coming into our territory. We're seeing maritime vessels coming. We're seeing the contamination of containers after they've left Guyana, as well as the construction of low-profile vessels, not to mention semi-submersibles. The routes. The majority of drugs comes into Guyana, again, from Venezuela. It doesn't help that it's a narco state and claims 2/3 of our territory, but it comes from Venezuela by plane or by boat for the transship. Some is remaining here, and as I said, some is transshipped, the majority being transshipped to other territories. What are we doing? Joint operations first. We conduct several operations within Guyana with our joint services colleagues. In 2014, we seized the first semi-submersible. It was constructed here. In just last year, we seized another semi-submersible off the coast working with our DEA counterparts, as well as in last year, we seized 4.4 tons at an illegal airstrip, again with the GDF Special Forces. Internationally, we have done several operations with our partners. We seized 4.7 tons of cocaine on board a vessel that had departed from Guyana, loaded with the cocaine off our coast, and we tracked it all the way to West Africa. And there have been other seizures in Europe that through international cooperation has resulted in large seizures. How are we doing it also? Intelligence. We're working through informants, undercover operations, sharing of information again from our colleagues overseas, as well as working with various communities. The public. The public plays a vital role in intelligence sharing. It's one of our greatest partners. Whether it's a phone call, whether it's persons in communities, if they see something, they hear something, they call it in. Basically what we do is do the right thing, and that has helped us tremendously in the fight against narcotics.
How is CANU working with other countries to shut down drug trafficking networks?
Marcia, we believe in partnerships. Partnerships are key in the fight against drug trafficking. On the regional level, we work very closely with our CARICOM counterparts, CARICOM Impacts, the JRCC, as well as training opportunities through RETRAC in Jamaica. In addition, Guyana is now a member of the RSS. So all of these groups have allowed us, or these partnerships have allowed us to benefit from training, sharing of information, as well as joint operations. On the international level, we continue to work with the DEA, the UK, the French, and the Canadian RCMP. Recently, we formed new partnerships within South America with our Brazilian counterparts, our Colombian counterparts, our Surinamese. And these partnerships are not just for training, but joint operations, sharing of information. In addition to that, CANU is part of several multinational law enforcement working groups. The CCOP program, funded by the European Union, deals with maritime and containerized cargo. We're members of the United Nations UNODC program. We're also members of a group called the Trans-Regional Intelligence Group. Again, these are multinational bodies which meet on a regular basis to share information, conduct joint operations. In addition, we've done several joint operations on an international level. This year, Guyana would have participated in an operation called Operation Zeus that saw basically 31 countries coming together. They conducted 51 operations within the region, in the Caribbean, South America, that saw the destruction of 31 illegal airstrips, as well as the seizure of over 3.5 tons of cocaine. The partnerships are a testimony to the international respect and confidence, not only in Guyana, but in CANU's willingness to combat the drug trade. We can't fight alone. We're fighting an enemy on different fronts. It's a network. And so partnerships are key. And I stress the importance of it, not just from a unit standpoint, but the confidence in Guyana, in the government of Guyana, to ensure that we do not become a narco state, that we do or give our all to fight drugs on every level.
What role does the public play in CANU's success?
The most important one, Marcia, we couldn't do this job without the public support, the public assistance. We have several operations that are credited to someone in a community picking up the phone and calling, sharing a tip, whether it's on our social media platform or just sending a message or just making a phone call. So the public plays the most important role. In addition to that, CANU believes in prevention, not just enforcement. So we have outreach campaigns in various communities and schools, not because there's a problem, but we believe in awareness. We have a strategy called Hearts and Minds. If we can go out there and sensitize you to what are the dangers, the effects on you, on the community, and obviously the country as a whole, that awareness, that proactive approach, it's very impactful, and it helps to reduce persons' usage and acts as a deterrent. In addition to that, CANU has a department called the Drug Information Network. Now, this department works very closely in demand reduction, works with the Ministry of Health, Education, and Social Services, as well as NGOs and rehab centers, to come up with programs focused on rehabilitation and drug awareness. In addition to that, we believe in transparency. So CANU publishes monthly reports, quarterly reports, and annual reports to share with our international partners so they can see what we're doing. In addition to that, we have a social media presence on all the different social media platforms, because the public needs to know. Well, we can't talk about everything, but you only hear about the drug bust, but you need to know that there's been a successful prosecution. And we use those platforms also to spread a message, awareness. The public is, as I said, is the most vital ally in the fight against drugs. But most importantly, Marcia, the public helps us to keep ourselves in check. The feedback. We rely on them to let us know, are we doing a good job? Are we being effective? How do you see us? And that is important. because we don't want to be an organization where there are a lot of allegations or being seen as too heavy-handed. We're here to work for you and with you to ensure safer environment, safer country and whole.
What new threats are emerging and how is CANU preparing for them?
Marcy, this is the most challenging one. We're seeing new drugs such as MDMA or ecstasy, synthetic drugs coming from Europe into Guyana and then to other parts of South America. We're also seeing the presence of foreign marijuana. This is marijuana with a higher THC content coming from North America, Colombia, Venezuela, as well as far as Thailand, coming into Guyana and then going to other parts of South America. Also, the presence of foreign members of drug trafficking organizations trying to embed themselves here in Guyana. Recently, we've seen numerous foreign members held alongside Guyanese outside of Guyana with large amounts of cocaine. Again, this is an indication that they're trying to establish somewhat of a presence here. What we're doing also is working with our international partners. We are calling for more presence of foreign liaison officers to work alongside us in the fight against drugs. There are new methods of concealment. No longer are persons trying to hide cocaine in wood or in fish. But what they're doing now is contaminating commercial shipments after they would have been scanned, after they would have been checked by law enforcement, and contaminating them at transshipment points, again, after they've left Guyana. We're also seeing them load vessels off the coast. So a vessel comes in, it has legitimate cargo, but then it travels outside of Guyana on our territorial waters and they load narcotics on board. What are we doing? As I mentioned, we're working with our international partners, but we're also using technology. CANU has acquired scanners and other bits of technical equipment to help us identify some of these concealment methods. Also, we're working with the local entities. For example, MARAD, we're working with them to identify what's happening along our coast. We're working with the Guyana Defense Force Air Corps and GCA to identify planes flying at treetop level, etc. So again, partnership is key. And while I mentioned before we can't do this alone, we are just being as adaptive as we can, which is through international partnerships. We're trying to ensure that Guyana does not become a haven, does not become a narco state, that drug trafficking organizations see here as a bad place to do business because of two reasons. CANU's zeal to fight drugs, but also government's commitment in ensuring that Guyana does not become a narco state or its citizens feel threatened by the narcotics trade.
CANU isn't just about conducting seizures, it's safeguarding Guyana's borders, reputation, and communities. Its work is a vital part of national security. We thank Director Singh for his leadership and for joining us.
You're most welcome.
Thank you for watching another episode of Safeguarding Our Nation. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.